Hi Booktube, it's Amy. I'm back again with another reading from the private papers of A Bankrupt Bookseller by Will Y. Darling, published in 1931 initially. This is the fictionalized diary of a bookseller in London. And today we are picking up on page 51 with a section titled A Bookseller's Neighbours. I have been reading Pope's essay on man. I can't but think there will be a revival in favor of Pope someday, and I find this. Whate'er the passion, knowledge, fame, or pelf, not one will change his neighbour with himself. In these days, no different perhaps from any other days, what a damnable habit the parentheses is. In these days, that seems a strange doctrine. Everyone covets his neighbour's ox or his ass, and many I know delude themselves into believing that they would be better if they were someone else. It is not true. We are not misfits in life. We get what we deserve. I am a rude determinist in that, if for no better reason than that to believe the contrary would rot my self-respect. I may be a poor thing, but I am I, and that undaunted self-assertion forbids me the desire to cower into somebody else's apparently more comfortable circumstances and strut abroad, deceiving the world as to my inferiority, but concealing no shred or scrap of my own pitiable meanness from myself. I will not be as my neighbours. I envy none of them, but I will do what I can to love them as I love myself. Pliny the Elder, I find him again opposite to my purpose, advises, always act in such a way as to secure the love of your neighbor. I try, but it is a sore trial. My friend the draper is a likable enough soul for all his being a literary weathercock, answering so promptly to heaven only knows what strange winds. He is a hardy-looking fellow. I suppose his wife thinks him handsome, and many of his customers certainly do. He is about 50, I imagine, and has a daughter who, caught up in schools and colleges, has soared above her father and mother both. He is a solid fellow, and it is this instinct for solid things that places him and makes him look on me as a curiosity. He has no pleasure in his business, and marvels that I find all my life in mine. He aims at getting out of his business into something else. It is sometimes a farmer, then he has just read poultry keeping for profit, or profits from pig farming. Sometimes it is the motor business, motors in a nutshell is his mentor. Then and again it is politics. Politics usually, I imagine, are his dream in the business. Like many men, he imagines he has something to say, something to give to his fellows, when of course he has nothing that could not well be done without. He brought once to me a boyhood friend of his, a depressed and dyspeptic commercial traveler, who bought one or two books and stayed in the back shop to discuss his friend. This commercial traveler said that the ideal of man, the creature a little lower than the angels such as we all think we are, was merely a disordered yet widespread dream of a generation of monkeys. We are not yet men, said he, and the fault in us, the tragedy of our lives, is that we try to live too closely to this ideal concept of ours. Havelock Ellis, in his third series, Impressions and Comments, confirms this commercial man in his idea. There are thinkers, he writes, who have occupied themselves with the problem of the exact mode of man's ending. Some imagine it will be by an epidemic of collective insanity, of which, he adds, with terrible and scientific calmness, germs may already be detected. My customer thought the draper, and he had known him all his life, a monkey with a disordered mind, and his opinion was sincere, for he knew himself to be no better. Robert Browning must have felt the truth of this bitter thought, the thought that we are incomplete yet, and often blind enough not to see it, when he cried, "Make no more half men, God." But the draper is not my only neighbor. There is the fruit merchant who, though no customer of mine, yet is my neighbor in God's sight and the municipality's. He is a young man, and like me, he loves his art. He is as miserly as I, and often, long after closing, I see his fat figure, a silhouette on his drawn blind, counting his bananas, polishing his pippins, or, it may be, blending the raisins with the almonds with all the skill of a connoisseur. I love him as myself. He is my neighbor. Is it not seemly so to do? I buy my fruit from him, but he buys no books. I arrogantly think I am superior, but he, I am suddenly illumined by the humbling thought, may rightly think me a dealer in second-hand things. Fruit of the earth, is the direct, miraculous work of God. Books, alas, God help us, are too often the fruits of all kinds of mental disorder and disease. All that's writ is marred, and he handles more wholesome stuff than I, perhaps. I think of them, Chatterton, Keats, Dr. Johnson, Edgar Allan Poe, Charles Lamb. Oh, Lord, what diseased fruits are these, and yet it is their handiwork I handle so lovingly. I see I have no stones to throw, not even plum stones at my neighbor, the fruitier, who I arrogantly thought was my inferior. There is the baker. He buys books on astronomy, I believe, but I have only sold him one. It was Camille Flammarin's Astronomy for Amateurs, a book I sold with more willingness than most. Its figures startled me, and the illustrations appalled me, especially that of one of the comets. Astronomy is a lovely science. If I were a baker, I might take to it, rising above ovens and pastry to the infinite. But I make answer to that possible craving in a quotation from a most likable book, which I have been thanked for recommending. Oh, rare pleasure for the bookseller. The Comments of Bagshot. It is out of print now, I believe, but it was written by J.A. Spender and published by Archerbrook Constable and Company Limited, as they were then. Here is my answer in quotation, and let me say that I cannot translate the Latin, but it gives me a loftiness to the whole. I feel, so let it stand. Life's great irony is that achievement defeats itself in the moment of its victory. Tante mollis erat Romanum condere gentem. The poet has scarcely finished before the historian takes up the tale of the decline and fall. Our paradise may be lost and regained, but never held and enjoyed. We develop our brains and pay by the decay of our bodies. We refine our tastes and pay by the decay of our morals. We become humane and find that we have lost our endurance. We enjoy the blessings of peace and find that our bones are full of water. There is stupendous energy of building up, stupendous energy tearing down, but no moment of repose for the atom or the planet or the human spirit. The city of the soul whirls and vibrates like a machine shop fitted with dynamos. Yet, somewhere in the heart of it all, the individual can make his own peace on his own terms and deny the whole universe to disturb it. It still matters nothing to me that the Earth and the solar system are whirling through space at the rate of 60 miles a second, from no one knows where to no one knows whither, if I may sit in my garden and listen to the bees on a summer afternoon. I like that about the Earth and solar system, whirling through space at the rate of 60 miles a second. What a thought, and what a counterthought. Counterthoughts, what a shopkeeping compound that is. It recalls me to my counter. I have written here too long, and must out to the front to see what is doing and what may be sold. That is the neighborly mood. I recollect the great example of one who was neighbor to him who fell among thieves. This afternoon I would be the good Samaritan to any who want books, written by diseased minds for the healing of diseased minds, if you will. I have such books for all who come, for all that is, who are my neighbors. And we will end it there today. The next section will be called Everybody's Doing It.